Man, no one in the world could ever tell me that there would ever be a such thing as promoting a movie from home.
I know, right? It feels kind of weird, doesn't it?
It feels weird, and it's also just like super cool
Mhm.
because rolling out of bed, getting dressed,
Uh,
and all right, I did all my interviews, and then going back to sleep, or you just whatever. Like every movie for the last 20 some years, you had to go on location, have 10 wardrobe fittings and everything, and just the convenience of this has been crazy, crazy.
Man, well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I've been a big fan of your work since Four Brothers, so
Oh
uh,
man, thank you, man. Thank
uh,
you very much.
mhm. Man. And right before I have answer the question, Joe, my cousin asked me to say this, that she's a huge fan of your work, and she said to say I love Tyrese and I love his Instagram. So I just had to tell you that before we get started.
Thank you. Yeah, my Instagram is pure entertainment, sure.
Man. All right. Well, I'll jump in with the questions here. So so first off, with this film that just came out, with the character that you play and such, that I felt like as I was watching it and seeing like the interaction that your character has with the other villains and the other heroes throughout it, that it kind of felt like part of your character there was to establish kind of how vicious, how evil some of the villains were. That I feel like sometimes, if we wouldn't have had that encounter that we had with you and them on the dock, that it's possible that we wouldn't have viewed the bad guys quite as bad as they really were. And I was wondering if you agreed with that or not.
Yeah, I think a bad guy in a film, if that's the role, you want to see bad people doing bad things. Right? You don't want to just, you don't want to see like somebody playing a gangster role just play the gangster. You want to see the bad things that a gangster would do. So definitely, definitely crazy.
Mhm. Man, now kind of going off of that question too, in the scene at the dock with the shootout that you had, I was wondering, like, how long does an action scene like that normally take to film, and like kind of what's involved? And then as a secondary question, was it cold falling into the ocean in that scene as well?
Thank God for stunt doubles. Yeah, Canada in October last year was very real. October, November in Canada is not to be played with.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was crazy. I don't want to give away the movie, but I don't die too often in movies.
Mhm.
I've tried everything I could on the set to talk the director out of it, but it didn't quite work. And then I said, you know, um, I said, what if I die and fall in the water,
Mhm.
and then the sequel shows me like Aquaman
Uh-huh.
swimming out of the water, and I took a couple of pellets, but not much. And um, yeah, so he didn't sign off on it, but I tried.
Well, that actually goes to one of my later questions that I say, as they say in pretty much all action and horror movies, if you don't see a body, it doesn't necessarily mean you're dead. So, would you be willing to come back in a sequel if there
If
was
you
a
don't
place
see a
for you?
body, you don't see an ambulance or a funeral.
Mhm.
We've all seen some real comebacks, and you'd be
Mhm.
like, really?
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Mhm. And uh, in the holding cell scene, with Scott, you guys kind of had an extended interaction there.
yeah.
That was kind of a scene that I enjoyed. That Scott's character was kind of written to be expressionless, emotionless, with who he was in that film. And I was wondering, like, did that present any challenges in an acting sense? Because I know that a lot of times actors play off of cues with each other and stuff. So I was wondering if that presented any challenges.
Yeah, the thing is, like, seeing that scene written out automatically kind of puts you into a headspace. And then when I got to the set and seeing the way they had designed the set and all the energy in that particular war room was pretty crazy. So me and Scott just kept going over it, because a lot of the magic that I've learned over the years that you could find in the scene in the moment, you know, is not written. It's the stuff that you just have to instinctively bring to a role. So I was very grateful to dance with Scott. You know, crazy thing is my name was brought up as one of the people for the movie. Scott said, hell yeah. And then I just did a film with Ray Liotta. And I was number one on the call sheet. We just wrapped 4 days ago. And I pitched Scott Eastwood to play Ray Liotta's son. The film was called 1992. And the director, Ariel Roman, who did The Iceman, directed it. And yeah, so I think there's more to do. There's more movies to make. There's more opportunities. And as long as we can keep throwing each other's name in the hat, we're going to keep rocking.
Oh, no, that's,
So
you know,
cool.
that's the way it is, you know, and it seemed like you guys had a rapport just in your scenes, you know, together. So I definitely would like to see you in more films. And kind of you know, when I was speaking to director David Hackle, you know, about like making the film and such, he mentioned that, you know, that there was like pandemic restrictions, you know, with like where you guys were filming and such. And he kind of said it made it kind of a different experience than what he had normally done making movies. And so I was going to ask you kind of like, you know, did those restrictions kind of impact you as an actor, and like, you know, and how did you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was my first time ever quarantining for 14 days, and 14 days is a long time to, I mean, they literally said I could not walk out of my front door, which I couldn't. So Canada takes quarantine way too serious. But yeah, it was freezing, stuck in my room. Everything we needed, we had to get somebody to go get it and grab it. And
wow.
It was very, very challenging, and didn't really make for a good start, you know, because they didn't really explain that quarantine would be like a full lockdown on that level. I was like, so I can't even walk around in the lobby at my own hotel. So after 14 days, finally got into my rental car, and we just went to do all kind of random things, like in embracing our freedom again, because it was just crazy. But yeah.
Man, yeah, I can imagine that would, you know, you'd be kind of going a bit stir crazy, probably not even being able to come out of a room, you know.
First time ever, couldn't walk out my front door, so that was definitely challenging. But you know, it's also good to pause and decompress and sit still for a second. But yeah, one of my biggest fears is going to jail. Even though it was a nice place we were staying in, it's pretty real.
I bet, you know, I just remember in the early days of the California lockdown, I remember how kind of stir crazy I was going, you know, and I could even go out of my apartment, but it still was it was a very different feeling, you know. It's like, you can imagine a hotel room.
Yeah, I just think working on a movie at the height of a pandemic, COVID, whatever the hell it is, makes everything stressful, you know, because you just hope that you don't touch a door handle or just do anything, compromise yourself. It's yeah, it was definitely crazy. I think that's why me being home right now, I'm like sleeping on so unnecessarily sleeping, like waking up for 2 hours, like figuring out a reason to go back to sleep. So you're just kind of coming down off of this high of just like working is working. That's exhausting, working as hard as I do. But working during the pandemic and just kind of the fear monger
Mm.
of it all is even more challenging. But you know, this is much better than being in foreclosure, much better than
True.
losing everything you've ever worked your ass off for. So I'm just so blessed and grateful that there is such thing as my phone ringing
Mm.
at the height of a pandemic.
Mm.
And I know other people aren't in that position, so I don't take it for granted.
True. You know, what was it? Was it interesting? You know, after with the with everything being closed down and everything with the pandemic and Hollywood and filmmaking, was it different coming back to work? You know, after having some time off.
Yeah, it was. It was for all of the reasons that I mentioned. You know, it's you're just like, you know, if we were working on a TV show called ER, we could wear a mask the whole time and do our scenes. But everybody in the crew has a mask on, and the actors can't wear a mask. So it's just automatically, you know, just thinking about the exposure and potential exposure. And I work really hard to play it safe, and I just hope I don't catch it.
Definitely. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I really enjoyed the movie, and I look forward to your upcoming roles. And like I said, I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me. And Dangerous is out there on demand, in theaters, selected theaters. And I just hope y'all give us a shot. Go check out the movie.
Definitely.
It's a wild ride. It's a thriller. Keep you on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen next. And I just hope y'all go out there and check it out. It'd be pretty cool to know that we put it all on the line for y'all entertainment and you actually enjoyed it.
Oh man. Well, I think you guys put together a hell of a thriller. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
You too, man. Bless you, bro.
All right, you too.